Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Vanderbilt football predictions for the 2019 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and please subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated if you do that. I have a subscriber goal of 200 subscribers I would love to hit by August 24th, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you won't regret it. So Vanderbilt, a team that actually seems to be a very competitive team. We'll go through the pros and cons, best case and worst case scenario, your three toughest and three easiest games. Then we'll go through the schedule game by game. I'll tell you which games I have Vanderbilt winning and losing. But let's start off with the pros and cons. Only one pro and one con. Your one pro is Derek Mason, your head coach. I really like Derek Mason. I think he's a really good head coach. He always seems to have Vanderbilt right around that 6-win mark, and everybody's like, oh, it's tough to win at Vandy. And it is. I hate that excuse a lot for some teams, but certain teams like Vandy, Stanford, Duke to a lesser degree, it's tough to win there. So overall, I do get the point. It's tough to win at Vandy, especially in the SEC, which I'll which I'll talk about here in a second. But I really like Derek Mason. I think he's a great head coach. He's a pro. Your one con is the talent. Compared to the SEC schools, the talent is pretty much piss poor. So yeah, but other schools, like if you compare it to Pac-12 talent, it's probably in the upper half. But compared to the SEC, it's piss poor. So the talent is a con. Now let's talk about your best case and worst case scenario. Here's the schedule right here in front of you. Your best case scenario is 8-4. Listen, I don't see Vandy winning 9 games in the regular season. I just don't. I look at this schedule. They definitely have some tough games, and I'll get into that in a second, including their first game of the year. But I just don't see Vandy doing any better than 8-4. Your worst case scenario is 3-9. Outside of East Tennessee State, they get UNLV as well. They could really struggle, and they could maybe find themselves staying at 3-9. If they can't beat Northern Illinois at home, it's going to be a rough year for Vanderbilt. So definitely, and I'll talk about the Northern Illinois game here in a second, but definitely a game that I think that's a must-win for Vandy. Your three toughest games are Georgia, LSU, and Florida. Georgia, top 5 team in the country. LSU, top 8 team in the country, depending on the polls you look at. Florida, some people think Florida's going to take a dip this year. Personally, I think Florida's going to be around that 9-10 win mark like they were last year. So I think that Florida game is your third toughest game. Your 3 easiest games, East Tennessee State and UNLV and Northern Illinois. I already kind of spoke on East Tennessee State and UNLV. I think you guys will win both of those games. I'll come out and say right now. But I do want to talk about the Northern Illinois game a little bit. That's not a give me, and if Vanderbilt loses that game, you can see 3-9 as a possibility. So I think that Northern Illinois game is a must-win, and we'll see what happens. But that's the game. If you're a Vanderbilt fan, I will circle as a must-win. So Northern Illinois is your third easiest game, in my opinion. Now let's go through the schedule game by game. I'll tell you which games I have Vanderbilt winning and losing. And by the way, one other quick note: don't hold me to the game by game picks. Just hold me to the final record prediction and conference record prediction here at the end. I'm going to call Vanderbilt Georgia, and that's because your first game is Georgia at home. Now, a lot of people think this game's going to be a blowout. I think this game's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be closer than what you think. I have, of course, Vanderbilt losing. And by the way, outside of UNLV and East Tennessee State, I've already done prediction videos for all these teams. So go check that out on the McD Sports 4 YouTube channel. But I think it's a closer game than expected. I think Vanderbilt still loses, though, 27-13. But I think it is a closer game than expected. Week 1 conference games, especially on the road, they're tough. So expect that game to be a bit closer than expected. Next game at Purdue. Purdue's a team. They have a really good offense. Defense, I think, does have some question marks, which I think plays in Vanderbilt's favor. It's in Purdue. I gave it to Purdue by 2 touchdowns, 38-24. Will not surprise me if Vanderbilt goes up there and wins, though. But give me Purdue to win 38-24. Then you get your first bye week. Coming out your bye week, LSU at home, lost. Listen, I don't give you a shot against LSU. I think their defense alone, the LSU defense will put them over Vanderbilt. 27-10 LSU. Offense might struggle some since it's a SEC road game, but at the end, it won't be enough. It won't be enough for Vanderbilt to maybe make this a game. 27-10 LSU. Next game, Northern Illinois. As I said, this is probably the pivotal game of the season right here. I think Vanderbilt starts the season out 0-3. I think they have to win this game against Northern Illinois if they want to do anything. I do have them beating Northern Illinois 27-16. I think Vandy's the better team than Northern Illinois, so give me Vandy. It's in Nashville, so give me Vandy to win 27-16. Kind of low scoring though. Next game at Ole Miss. We just did the Ole Miss football prediction video. Go check that out. I think this is going to be a good game. It'll be competitive, I think, to the end. I think the last few minutes, though, since the game is in the Grove, I do think Ole Miss will pull away. I do have Ole Miss winning this game 40-29. But I think it'll be a good game until the last few minutes. Next game, UNLV. Win. I do not see Vandy losing to UNLV. I have it 42-20 Vanderbilt in that one. Next game, Missouri at home. Missouri, in my opinion, they're going to have a pretty good offense. The defense, I think, does have a few question marks. They do have a bowl ban, though. And I do think Missouri's the better team than Vanderbilt, but I think the focus level could be a question for Missouri. And I do have Vanderbilt pulling off the upset here, 27-24 Vanderbilt in this one. I think Vanderbilt is a good. I think Vanderbilt, they play teams tough, and I think if Missouri's not focused, I do think Vanderbilt could beat them. So give me Vanderbilt to win 27-24. Then you get your second bye, and then coming off the bye week at South Carolina. You guys cannot beat South Carolina. I mean, I think you're like 3-9 in your last 12 matchups or something like that against South Carolina, and they have like a 7 or 8 game winning streak against you. I think South Carolina beats you this year. It's in South Carolina, 31-20. It'll be a competitive game, but at the end, I have to give it to South Carolina. Next game at Florida. This is a game you should watch, and the reason why is so we can see Derek Mason kick Dan Mullen's ass. But I do think Vanderbilt loses at the end. Last year, it was 21-0 until Vanderbilt's best player got injured, their running back. It's in the swamp. I gave it to Florida, 38-23. It'll be a competitive game until the fourth quarter, but overall, Florida is the better team. Next game, Kentucky at home. Last year, you guys played Kentucky tough and lost that low-scoring matchup against them. I think like 14-7 at Kroger Field. I went back and forth with this one. I do give Vandy a legit shot in this game, and I actually did pick Vandy to win this game, 17-14, kind of like last year, kind of low scoring. I do think Kentucky's the better team, but with the game being in Nashville, I think Vandy beats them. I can see Vandy easily winning this game against Kentucky, 17-14, Vandy. Next game, East Tennessee State, win. You guys should beat East Tennessee State without a problem, 41-9, Vandy. And then the final game, at Tennessee. Now, this is interesting because you have a 3-game winning streak against them. And it is in Knoxville, and I do think that's an advantage for Tennessee. I went back and forth with it. Listen, all good things must come to an end. I think Tennessee's the better team. I think Tennessee's looking to take some steps in the right direction. I picked Tennessee to win this game in a close one, 28-20. I do think Tennessee's going to be better than Vanderbilt this year. So that's my game picks. If you count up all the wins and losses, I have Vanderbilt going 5-7 with a 2-6 conference record. You just missed out on the bowl game. But hey, I think you do have some more victories. 2 wins in the SEC. Some people are projecting you go 0-8 in the SEC this year. I think you go 2-6 in the SEC this year. Or I'll say this. I think you at least win a game somewhere in the SEC this year. Because let me tell you something. Vanderbilt, I know people like pooping on them and stuff, but they, under Derek Mason and before that, James Franklin, they've been at least a competitive team for the most part. So you got to give those coaches credit there. I think it continues this year. I think it's a very competitive 7-5, not 7-5, a very competitive 5-7. And we'll see what happens with 5-7 with a 2-6 conference record. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. I always like hearing from y'all. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate if you do that, and you won't regret it. Buffalo football predictions later tonight. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.